calm down, play your game. You've only got one more chance. We're about to get into it here at Game 5.
That we are, Valdi. It's time. He has a little bit of a, you can almost see a smile on his face. I think he's, whatever discussion he just had with his coach, it's definitely giving him some extra motivation, or at least some extra confidence here going to this final game. Difference of prize pool in $2,800 right now going to this. So a lot of money on the line. And also being able to see you win this tournament, because this tournament is really not just a qualifier for the grand finals in China, but it's also a tournament that's got a lot of prestige. It's to be able to say that you are the champion of the Korea Nationals and that you beat some of the best players that we've got here in the world. All right, guys, it's time for our final set here, our finals on merry-go-round, Stats versus herO.
Down here at 6 o'clock in the red from KT Rolster, it is Stats.
And over here at the top left in blue, CJ, it's herO clawing his way back into the series, bringing us all the way to that 5th game. And everyone is waiting yet again to see what tech, what path these two players take. Saw a very aggressive proxy last game. A lot of Phoenix micro, a lot of interactions there that herO got the better end of. This gave him a lot of leads that allowed him to take that game. And we'll see how this one plays out.
You know, the way that you were saying how herO has kind of clawed his way back into the series, it kind of reminds me of the way that Stats has clawed himself back into so many series here in WECG. You know, maybe if we didn't have the names up here, it would be hard for me to tell, because Stats, you know, we said many times that he needed some time to ramp up, but that just hasn't been the case here in the semifinals and the finals. He took the 3-0 against TY in really fast fashion, and here against herO, he took the first 2. He was really on fire, but now he's gotten the best of him in the last 2 games.
Yeah, herO ends Stats' 5-game winning streak, and there's really high-stake matches, and is bringing him back to reality, saying, I'm not out of this yet. Both these players, identical builds so far, economic gateways and 2 gases each. Basically identical timings on everything. Pylons in main.
That pylon slightly out of the way there. Could be for some tech. You know, we make jokes about the Stargate pylons that are just a little bit closer on 2 base maps, you know, 2-player maps. But it's not quite the case. Maybe it's just is guessing that herO's on the left side. Maybe it is for Stargate, but of course we can't be sure just yet. It's still pretty early.
It's out of the way no matter what. It's much harder to scout, and it's the furthest away from the ramp. So if a probe gets in for any reason, he's going to be much less likely to see it because of how far away it is from that ramp. So if he is able to start that tech here before the probe comes in, should be able to deny a scout pretty easily.
Yeah. And for the first time in this series, we see the first 2 gate here out of herO. He actually mines less gas, and he puts down that 2nd gate here. Yeah. So he may be trying to go aggressive.
And he's going to get a scout in here. Now, mind you, he could actually hide this probe in here. I don't think he will. That's just it's too risky. But he could try to lurk around and see the tech. But as it is, until that probe gets killed, Stats can't really make anything. And that's the advantage of getting this scout across first, getting lucky. You can see Stats scouted at the exact same time but got unlucky, and now finds himself sending his probe towards the watchtower, where he was probably going to leave it because sending it up the ramp of the natural isn't really going to tell him a whole lot. Yeah. Should be denied pretty easily at that point.
Pretty unfortunate here for Stats. He does go for the Sentry first. Will be very useful for, you know, possible blink play a little bit later if he does get that force field down.
Notice that with no scout on the tech, herO is a bit concerned about fast oracles. He even leaves a stalker in the main base here in the mineral line, which meant that had he actually sent the probe towards the base, he would have been able to get a good scout in there. The Mothership Core is meanwhile trying to get that done. And we have a fast Nexus versus a quick Twilight Council. Definitely going to be blink here, almost 100%. Yeah, with that 3rd gate looking pretty conclusive. Yeah.
Look just a different way to get there. You know, he's going to have some extra stalkers that get out here. And we got this probe on the move. Going to be making his pylons possibly a bit forward.
These stalkers that he gets first, gives him a lot of aggression he can put on. It allows you to really secure your forward warping point. You can have it at really at the bottom of your opponent's ramp if you want to with these Stalkers out early, because you have that much control on the map. But he's playing very cautiously here. Actually, in fact, getting a robotics as well. He's really just playing this super safe.
Yeah, he really is. And at this point, the Nexus is so far behind because he's playing this safe. I feel like something tipped him off. Maybe he didn't see that extra pylon down in the bottom left. I know he saw that one in the north of stat space go down, but maybe he's saying, hey, I didn't see a pylon. You're probably proxying something, because he's sending out that probe to scout so many different locations. He's not finding anything. Only now is he putting down that Nexus.
Yeah, this is really hurt. He could get pylon blocked, and he will. It's not going to last very long with 3 Stalkers here, but still, every second counts when you're this far behind in your Nexus. And when you have tech that you've committed to that you haven't been able to accomplish anything with. I said earlier, that's the Stalker count. Those are the early Stalkers that let you kind of really get up there right in your opponent's face, put the pylon down. But he used those Stalkers instead defensively, which means that rushing them out like that doesn't gain him anything.
Yeah. herO just a bit nervous about that rush Stargate.
How is he going to feel right now when he sees... Look at his face! He sees a Nexus, he sees an Immortal, he sees how long the Nexus has been up, and his blink tech is now totally useless. He can only try to use it to blink into the side of the main base with only a few Stalkers. He's adding a Stargate right now in desperation. I mean, things couldn't be worse. He sees that and he's like, oh god, I've completely misread this. You have a Nexus, you have Immortals out.
He's already got 2 out. He's making another Observer here even, and making his 3rd Immortal now. Stats is so far ahead. It is so just not common.
Look at
so
his
uncommon.
face. Watch how he reacts to this. Seeing a blink and a late Nexus.
Yeah.
He's like, I got this in the bag. I'm so far ahead right now.
You can already see him getting excited on his face. He's like, oh man, I got this one. I got it. He's very, very far ahead. It's so uncommon to see a pro gamer be so frustrated that he takes his hand off the keyboard to hit his face.
All right, so that hallucination scout saw a lot. Just further going to make him frustrated, but he's going to take risks. The first risk he's going to take is to take the Oracle. He's going to make a ton of gas into that Stargate and then into the Oracle, hoping to do some desperation damage. If it doesn't work out, that's going to hurt a lot. He's also rushing his Forge out here. He's just cutting on units entirely, knowing that it's very unlikely that Stats will try to attack into him here with the build he's chosen. And the next thing he might try to do is to actually add a hidden Nexus. These are other choices he can make to try to get ahead, because he knows he's really behind right now.
Yeah. And it's funny, the thing we see out of Stats here is actually extra gates and blink. He may just go for a counterattack here. You're talking about, maybe Stats isn't going to go for this attack, but I don't know. I'm looking at what he's throwing down here, and it could be he throws down 3 more gates here. No Robo Bay, no more tech here, just blink.
All right, this is a good distraction. Goes right into the main base here. It's getting a lot of kills because Stats is very concerned with those Stalkers. 4 kills, pretty nice at this late in the game, but he does lose a Stalker over here. In fact, the first army unit he's lost this entire game, so really nice trade there. Just keeping those Stalkers at the front and making them very threatening. But Stats has so much powered up gates now.
His economy has been so far ahead for so long. He's actually, he cut his probes at what looks like 45 or around there, and now he's only starting to make extra probes.
He wants to go for the kill.
Yeah.
He's added all those gates. He's got the forward pylons. He knows he has so many morals versus none. He's even going to catch these Stalkers out here, and herO's going to have to blink home, but he loses a Stalker already. He's going to have to rely on his sentries alone here and that Nexus cannon. +1 is actually going to finish for Stats first, as well as his own counter blink. This is looking really rough for herO. He's going to have to hold here desperately. Warps in a ton of sentries. Force fields are the name of the game, but that blink, like I said, is so close to being finished here for Stats.
Yep. You're 100% right. Those force fields, he needs to buy some kind of time, but the blink is done.
So is that +1. And this could be his moment with this warp in. He's going to do the blink forward up here. He's got the Observer. Okay, he waits. He waits. He knows there's an Immortal over there. Better safe than sorry. The first Colossus comes out. This is tense. He's starting to get that area of effect damage, and he hasn't even used his Nexus Cannon yet. He's waiting.
Nexus Cannon goes down. +1 is about to finish here for herO, but it's not done yet. Okay, it gets done now. The fight is already on. He's fighting with the probes. A huge blink forward onto the Colossus now.
Guardian shield up for both players. It looks like this is just too much, though. Blinking the Stalkers back now against the Zealots. Probes are going down left and right. Too many reinforcements here. Immortal is now being targeted. This is just way too much here for Stats. And it looks like herO with a complete misread. Look at the relief on Stats' face as he knows This game is over. He has done it, and he is going to be taking that $5,600. He's won this tournament. He's finally got an individual league now under his belt. He's done it.
He's finally
over.
Done it.
Look
Huge
at herO
into the
too.
main.
He's so frustrated, but just simply a misread in this matchup can cost you a finals, and that's exactly what we just witnessed here. 2 safe play out of herO against a very economic build, and he doesn't even want to leave the game. He's just completely misread this. He's so frustrated.
That's got to be so frustrating, man. He shakes his head. Some Dancing of the Stalkers says, GG.
And
congratulations.
Yes.
Stats is the champion of the WECG Korea Nationals here.
And will be going on in top seed for Korea to represent his nation here. herO will be going to China as well with less money in his pocket with a silver medal. Well, this series is all about stats right now. Very impressive win. Was able to keep his composure in that final game, just play a solid straight-up game. herO got nervous, he got stressed, he wasn't sure what was going on. He played extremely defensively with an aggressive opening, and that really cost him.
Yeah. Who knows how this game could have turned out if herO just went with a huge aggressive blink all in. And, maybe he hits right before the Immortal, or he catches the Immortal out or something.
I mean, he has the aggressive Stalkers to secure that pylon really close by. He's got so much warping potential. He's got a lot of resources, but he keeps the Stalkers at home because he thinks it's a hidden Oracle tech, or he thinks, it's DTs. He even makes a Robo.
And, it's funny, we were talking about that one pylon. I'm not actually sure if herO got the scout on the one pylon, but if he didn't, that could have actually cost him the game. Because if he didn't see all those pylons, he's like, where is that pylon? It could be a proxy, and, it just gets into his head, and that forces him to play so safe in this final and super important game.
Yeah. And we talked about it from the very beginning about that pylon. It's just how PvP works. There's a lot of mind games. There's a ton of choices you have to make when it comes to greed. That's actually how mirror matchups often go. TVT, I would say probably the least for this, but it's even still involved in that. ZVZ the most, and the Process there's definitely a greed aspect. Oftentimes with gas and with your Nexus, how much are you going to mine? And how are you going to use that? Are you going to use it to try to get your economy up and be defensive? Are you going to use it to be aggressive? If you use it to be aggressive and then don't attack while your opponent's taking a really greedy expansion, then you just get way far behind. That's why he went up and hit himself in the head, in frustration when he saw that Nexus and the Immortal. He's like, oh my God, it's the exact worst case scenario for me with the build I've chosen. I was just trying to be safe, I completely misread him.
Yeah. And you could even see the frustration from herO when he was talking to Sora, even before that final game. I'm not sure exactly what he was frustrated about, especially after winning 2 in a row. But maybe just regretting some of the plays he was making in the first 2 games. But you could definitely tell that frustration came into his game there in the final one.
Well, he also, had that slight interruption as well when we don't know what happened with stats. It could have even been a hardware problem. We really just actually literally have no idea. And that sort of interruption can be pretty frustrating. But let's close this out by saying congratulations to Stats for taking first place. And I think we're going to take a commercial break before we go into our third place match to find out our third player going to the grand finals in China.